Hello, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. My name is Anthony DeSimone with his 13th edition of Penguins Pointers. Tonight we're going to look at some interesting stuff. Pay no attention to all the stats on the right. We'll get to that shortly, but let's start off at the top of the list here. Crosby show is one of my recent thoughts of the Penguins. He's got an 11-game point streak dating back to January 12th when we took on the Carolina Hurricanes. During that 11-game point streak, he now has 12 goals and 7 assists for 19 points. He also has 2 4-point games in the past week and a half. So Crosby really turning it on, and it's good that is, because as you look down at the third point, Malkin's still out with an injury. We'll get to that in a second, but it's nice to see that Crosby is stepping up to the plate now with one of our other stars out with an injury. The team has won 5 of their last 6 games. That's good, and that's exactly what I was hoping for as I talked to you guys in the last blog about that opportunity the Penguins had. They had a 3-game winning streak before the All-Star break. They took 2 of 3 coming back from the All-Star break, and that has given us 10 points and has really put us in front of the wild card teams by a little bit and has closed the gap between us and the top of the Metropolitan. Not the Washington Capitals, of course, but the Rangers and Islanders are a little bit more of a reach now than they were a week ago. So they seized that golden opportunity. They've won 5 of their last 6, and they've gone 7-2-1 in their last 10 games. So they've really started to get a good stretch going here, and that's the best stretch we've had under Sullivan so far. So let's see if we can keep that rolling. Malkin is still out with an injury. It is a lower body injury he suffered February 5th when we lost to Tampa Bay. Was the first game that he was out. Coach Sullivan said that he will miss at least 3 more, so that means he will not be in tonight against the Rangers. He will miss the Carolina Hurricanes game and will miss the Florida Panthers game as well. So hopefully Crosby and company can keep the offensive strategy and success going until Malkin comes back from his injury, which hopefully will be sometime in the next week or so. One of the main things I want to talk about in this blog, and that's why we put all those stats up there. Interestingly enough, I did a little work here and found out the team that shoots the most in the NHL has a greater chance of winning the Stanley Cup. Yes, you heard me. Look over to the right column, if you will. Those are the Stanley Cup winners since 2000. If you look at that list, only one team was not in the top 10 in the shot department, and that was, of course, the Pittsburgh Penguins when we won back in 2009. We were in 18th place with the shots. If you look at every other team, New Jersey, Colorado, Detroit, Tampa, Carolina, Anaheim, Chicago, Boston, LA. All of them were in the top 10, and you're looking at, what is that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? I think 4 or 5 were in first place in the shot department when they won the Stanley Cup that year. So it goes to show shooting first is the mentality you want to have as a team if you're really gung-ho for winning that Stanley Cup. Last year, when the Penguins got knocked out of the playoffs, shots were low. Probably one of the reasons why we didn't make it far into the playoffs is you need to get shots on net. As a team, the Penguins need to get shots on net if they want to win games and if they want to win Stanley Cups, and that is something that I believe Sullivan has been drilling in the Penguins' head since he's been here. Look now. Underneath the shots equals Stanley Cup. The Penguins now lead with 32.6 shots per game. That is first in the NHL. I can tell you when Johnson was coach, that was not the case. We were more middle of the pack. And we were, struggling at the time. But now that you see that they have more shots on net, it has led to a greater percentage of success on the power play. The Penguins now convert at 20%. Compared to their dismal 13% earlier in the season. So they've rebounded nicely, and they've put themselves higher up on the power play markers. But I thought that was something interesting to bring up and explain is usually the team that gets the most shots a game is the team that wins the Stanley Cup. So currently, if you believe in anything in traditions or statistics, statistically, the Penguins look like they're the best positioned team to win the Stanley Cup. So if we're going on shots per game, yeah. But, there's a lot of other factors in hockey, but just something to think about when fans are complaining that the Penguins don't shoot enough. I mean, you can't shoot more than the rest of the league when you're in first place. Now, it's not by much. It's 0.1 shot more than I believe Boston holds the second spot this season. But the point is, it might not look like the Penguins are really shooting the puck a lot during the game. But when you look at it statistically, they lead the league. So, just something I wanted to throw out there. But speaking of the league, let's jump over and take a look at those standings. As we all know, the Washington Capitals are pretty much poised to take the Metropolitan unless they decide they don't want to play for about 10 or 15 games and just lose them all. But as for second and third, the Rangers and Islanders still hold those spots. The Rangers have 65 points. The Islanders hold it with 62 in third in the Metropolitan. The Atlantic Division has not changed much in the past week and a half. The Panthers are still in first with 70 points, which to most people is a surprise this season, as a lot of people were not expecting the Panthers to do as well as they are. They are definitely the Cinderella so far this season. Tampa Bay Lightning find themselves tied for second with the Red Wings, as the Lightning hold the tiebreaker currently and maintain the second spot. The Red Wings find themselves in third. We jump down to the wild card. There you find your good old Pittsburgh Penguins sitting in the 8th spot with 61 points. The Boston Bruins sitting in 7th with 62. We jump over to the In the Hunt section. The Devils are right on the heels of the Penguins with 61. The Canadiens have 58 in 10th. The Hurricanes have 57. And down the list we go. Senators 56, Flyers 55. Off the list, but slowly creeping up, guys, is the Buffalo Sabres, who have 48 points. So keep an eye out for Mr. Dan Bilesma and his Buffalo Sabres. They might creep their way up into the standings if they can continue to have some success. But they've lost a couple games now, so they've kind of tapered off a little bit. But just the Penguins, as you see, are now closer to taking over third in the Metropolitan. Tonight's game is going to really be a great chance for them to get some points and to pull the Rangers down in terms of standings. So hopefully they can get this win. If not, we have a chance of falling back into that in the hunt thicket, which it's been one of those weird seasons where there's still not a big gap between the top teams in the divisions and then the lower teams in the division. It's just look at that. Between third and the bottom of the In the Hunt section is only 7 points. So really, anybody can still take over the Metropolitan, and in the Atlantic's case as well, anybody can take over the Atlantic. They're not as spaced out this season as you traditionally start to see as you get into the months of March and April. But that's where the Penguins are. And as for tonight, it will be an 8 o'clock start at home against the New York Rangers. Like I was just saying, the Rangers hold the second spot in the Metropolitan. This is a chance for a 4-point swing. If the Penguins can win outright and not go to overtime, they'll pick up 2 points, and they will keep 2 points off the board for the Rangers, and we can put ourselves back into the Metropolitan standings in third place if the Islanders lose tonight. Or lose their next game, I should say. As for the tips to win tonight, here's what we're looking at. Crosby, keep the point streak going. Let's see if he can get it to 12. He's been hot recently, like I said. 12 goals and 7 assists. Hopefully he can keep up on his pace and put some goals and assists on the board to help the Penguins take down the Rangers tonight. Like I said, shooting wins Stanley Cup, so let's keep shooting that puck on net. Let's try to get 35, 40 shots on net tonight. and, really test Henrik Lundqvist, who's a star goaltender. And he will probably... This is going to be a low-scoring game. And unless for some reason Lundqvist does not have a good start. If Lundqvist is able to heat up, get into his groove, this is going to be a low-scoring battle. But keep putting the shots on net. You start testing the goaltender 30, 40 times a night, he's bound to make multiple mistakes, so let's keep the shots going. Third and last, as I was alluding to with the second point, goaltending tonight, Fleury is going to have to be on point. He cannot be playing as sloppy as he's been playing in the last couple games, giving up easy goals. He's going to have to be very tight against the Rangers and be on his game, considering the netminder on the other side of the ice is Henrik Lundqvist, who usually does not give up a lot of goals. Fleury will have to be stellar tonight to win. And just a little tidbit for all you stat junkies out there. If the Penguins win tonight at home, this will be the 1,000th home win for the Penguins since the organization was founded back in 1967. So in 49 years, if they can win tonight, they will have won 1,000 hockey games at their home arenas. Now, that does not mean Consol Energy, as we all know, Consol's new. But in terms of all the arenas the Penguins have played in since 1967, all that were classified as home, they have 999 home wins. This would be win number 1,000. So, just a little stat to think about as you're watching tonight's game. Might not get mentioned during the broadcast, but if you see us come out with a win tonight, that's a little something special you can think about, and I'm sure someone somewhere has caught on to that stat, and who knows? Some say that's a milestone, some say it's not. I think it's pretty impressive that you get 1,000 wins at home. The Penguins are actually pretty high up on the standings. I was looking at all-time standings. They're pretty high up there with home wins and things of the sort, so let's see if they can get that 1,000th win tonight. But as for now, I'm